It's still stunning to think that Warner Brothers actually looked at Batman Returns and saw a failure of a movie. Sure, it didn't make as much money as Batman Begins or The Dark Knight, but it was still a wonderful film that was revered by critics and fans alike over the age of 12. The problem with it, so he would say, was something else entirely. It was just too dark. And the film marketplace looking towards merchandising dollars and the valuable family demographic, Tim Burton's feature of freaks and circus oddities just didn't sit well. In fact, it alienated the very audience Warner Brothers were trying to capture first and foremost, and, well, it spelt doom for a planned third film in the series. At least with Tim Burton at the helm. There was no other option than to seek a lighter direction for the third film, and that involved Joel Schumacher and a lot of bat nipples. The result was, of course, Batman Forever, a film that the late, great Roger Ebert described as bubblegum for the eyes. It received a critical mauling when it released, and although it did make a lot of money, one can't help but wonder what Tim Burton's third Batman film would have looked like. Luckily, both for you and for me, we do actually have a few clues as to what the vision for Batman 3 would have looked like had Tim Burton remained on the project. With that in mind, I'm Ewan from What Culture, and let's get stuck into Tim Burton's Batman 3. Number 10, the title. When you think about it, most Batman films haven't had the best titling conventions. If Matt Reeves does indeed stick with the title of The Batman, it's a trend that looks likely to continue. But at the very least, it couldn't have been bad as Batman Continues. Batman Continues. The third film was going to be called Batman Continues. He's just carrying on as per, is he? That's the main thing. Crikey, I can only wonder how long that would have taken to have come up with. I mean, bloody hell. Number 9, starring as Batman, Michael Keaton. When Tim Burton was still involved with the project, Michael Keaton was still very much signed on to play Bruce Wayne/Batman. This wouldn't have been a bad thing at all, because Michael Keaton still remains today as the best actor to have played the Caped Crusader, at least in live action. Can't forget about Big Kev. But Keaton's character was inherently tied to the darkness of the project, which Tim Burton himself was obviously the main creative force behind. When there were concerns that the film wouldn't be able to sell toys, well, yeah, he didn't like that one bit. Speaking to The Guardian, Keaton said, "The film just wasn't any good, man. I tried to be patient, but after a certain point I was like, I can't take this anymore. This is going to be horrible. It sucked. The script never was good. I couldn't understand why he wanted to do what he wanted to do. I hung on for many meetings. I knew it was in trouble when he, Joel Schumacher, said, 'Why does everything have to be so dark?'" Well, there you have it. Keaton didn't seem to like the project, because it was more concerned with selling toys than it was with telling a good story. Number 8, his new Batsuit. Thanks to sculptor Jose Fernandez, we actually have a really good idea of what Batman's suit would have looked like in the third Batman film, which, yes, we're going to dub Batman Continues because why not? Anyway, he was the same person who designed Catwoman's suit in Batman Returns and Robin's suit in Batman and Robin, and his design for, well, this film, it looks, Jesus Christ, it looks brilliant. It's the best of both worlds, with the grey of the comics and the yellow symbol from the earlier incarnations of the character. Much better than the nip suit, I think we can all agree, but, well, it's kind of bittersweet, isn't it? I would have loved to see this on the big screen. Crucially, the suit would also have a movable cowl this time, a thing that Bats himself would have to wait a further 13 years for in 2008's The Dark Knight. Number 7, a new love interest. After Kim Basinger's Vicky Vale in Batman 89 and Michelle Pfeiffer's iconic turn as Catwoman in the follow-up, focus would have turned to a different love interest in the third Batman film. It still would have been Dr. Chase Meridian, played by Nicole Kidman in Joel Schumacher's film, but instead of her in the role, it would have been Renee Russo in Burton's incarnation of the project. She'd been at the height of her career when Burton cast her in the role, but when Joel Schumacher jumped aboard the project, Kidman was chosen instead. It's the car, right? Chicks dig the car? Number 6, an origin story. Michael Keaton actually claims that the model for Chris Nolan's Dark Knight trilogy is what he had in mind for Batman 3. It sounds very much like Keaton was advocating for a Year One style story when he was still involved in the project, but ultimately it sounds as though it fell on deaf ears. In any case, I think we can all appreciate how cool a Burton and KEATON adaptation of Frank Miller and Dave Mazzucchelli's Year One would have looked like, especially in the 90s. Number 5. Marlon Wayans' Robin. Originally, Robin was actually meant to be involved in Batman '89. There are even storyboards that depict the deaths of the Flying Graysons at Haley's Circus, but ultimately it would be saved until the third Batman feature. Then Marlon Wayans was actually cast in the part of Batman Returns, but Burton ultimately cut it because he felt as though there were too many characters in there already. The director did actually intend for Wayans' Robin to be involved in Batman 3, however, but once he left the project, Schumacher came aboard and recast the role with Chris O'Donnell. NCIS Los Angeles, Chris O'Donnell. Yep, there we go. Brilliant. Number 4. Billy D. Williams as Two-Face. As Tim Burton revealed in the commentary for 1989's Batman, he actually wanted to use Billy D. Williams' Harvey Dent not just as Gotham's district attorney, but as Batman's main villain himself, Two-Face. He'd even intended the character to have a key role in the third Batman film after sitting out the sequel. In one of the earlier drafts for Batman Returns, Billy D. Williams' character was actually meant to take on the role of Max Schreck, being electrocuted at the end by Catwoman and seeding him for a transition to Two-Face in the threequel. Unfortunately, once the film changed hands, Tommy Lee Jones replaced Williams as the title character, and didn't even enjoy the experience either, thanks to, and I quote, Jim Carrey's unsanctioned buffoonery. Jones's performance left a lot to be desired in any case, and though no, it doesn't make up for the fact that he was needlessly recast in the role, the fact that we did get to see Billy D. Williams play Two-Face in the Lego Batman movie was pretty cool, and made for a nice surprise, all things considered. Number 3. Robin Williams as the Riddler. On top of being considered to play the Joker in the original 1989 Batman, Tim Burton actually had Robin Williams on his shortlist to play the Riddler as well. He would have even had a haircut cut in the shape of a question mark. Oh my god, why didn't we ever see this? For Batman 3, Burton again turned to Williams for a key part, as was confirmed by scriptwriter Lee Batchelor, who said that he actually wrote the part of the Riddler with Williams' voice in mind. He also revealed that Williams absolutely loved the script, but the studio somehow failed to make a deal with the actor, as he confirmed in a 2010 interview with Empire magazine. The Batman films have screwed me twice before. Years ago they offered me the Joker and then gave it to Jack Nicholson. Then they offered me the Riddler and gave it to Jim Carrey. I'd be like, okay, is this a real offer? If it is, then the answer's yes. Don't put me again, motherfuckers. Number 2. Brad Dourif as the Scarecrow. While some will say that too many villains spoil a movie just as too many cooks spoil the broth, Burton did plan for Batman 3 to have a bonanza of bad guys at the helm, and none other than Brad Dourif set to play the Scarecrow, an inspired casting, all things considered. The actor, who's probably best known for playing Wormtongue in the Lord of the Rings films, developed a reputation for playing off-kilter characters like Billy Bibbit in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest and Chucky from Child's Play. Given those roles, I think we can all agree that he would have made for a fantastic Scarecrow. Certainly better than Nick Cage, who was actually tapped for the part in the later failed Batman Unchained, and no, I cannot get that image out of my head either. But in light of all those concerns regarding merchandise, toys, and Ronald McDonald, the move just never came to fruition. And number 1, why it died. As you'll all probably be able to recite by now, Batman Returns was just too dark. Childhood me had nightmares about the film for weeks on end, and it left Tim Burton and Warner Brothers in a very precarious position come the time to plan a third entry in the saga. As that film's screenwriter recalled for the 2005 documentary Shadow of the Bat Part 4, the warning signs were everywhere. It's great. The lights are coming up after Batman Returns, and it's like the kids are crying, people acting like they've been punched in the stomach and like they've been mugged. Part of me relished that reaction, and part of me to this day is like, oops. In any case, Batman Returns made a heck of a lot of money, which is why Warner Brothers was so keen on the idea of a sequel at the very least. When Returns released in the summer of 1992, the LA Times managed to encapsulate the controversy in one big letters page, with most critics and fans pointing towards the film's connections to the fast food chain as a big reason why they were so upset. As one letter said, violence-loving adults may enjoy this film, but why on earth is McDonald's pushing this exploitative movie through the sales of its so-called Happy Meals? Has McDonald's no conscience? As you'll probably guessed by now, everything was a bit of a PR nightmare with toy companies unable to sell figures of mutant penguins or creepy cat ladies. It was the end of the line for Burton and the Bat. Money, unfortunately, unmade what could have been. What do you guys think of Tim Burton's Batman 3? Please be sure to let us know down in the comments below, and then like, share, and subscribe, and then head back over to whatculture.com where, yes, we're still talking about Batman forever. We're never going to let it go. As always, I've been Ewan, and I'll see you next time.